It's nice to see the room filling up for this one. For a fifth year in a row, or for a fifth time in a row, I think there was a little COVID in between, Google yet again takes to the stage here at the Tours and Activities track. And it is also a very, very welcomed opportunity for us to hear what Google is up to, and specifically what they obviously are doing in our particular Tours and Activities space. This session is research-based. It's difficult to say after a long morning, but it's research-based, and it's going to look at sort of consumer trend behaviors, search behaviors, but also booking patterns, which we have sort of dived into a little bit before, especially in the panel session that I was moderating after Douglas did the keynote to set the scene. So we're really going to hear from Google sort of what are the key opportunities that are changing things in this particular space. We have not one but two speakers, which is also very lovely, and in a minute I will bring them to the stage, and they are Stephen Vargas from Google, and it says here that he's an expert in travel insights and digital strategy more like. Steve, come along to the stage, please. And also Olga Chatzidoukaki from Google, and she is a specialist in consumer behavior and marketing innovation. So please, the stage is definitely yours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Great to see so many of you here today. We're very excited to do this session with you. I am Olga Chatzidoukaki. I work in the partnerships team for Things to Do at Google Travel, based out of the Zurich office. And I have the pleasure to be here today with me, my colleague Stephen Vargas, who is a product manager at Google Travel as well, based out of Boston. We're very excited to talk here today about some of the trends we're seeing in the industry of activities and tours. And we're also going to focus a little bit on the user needs that we're seeing and how you, as our partners, can address these. Now, when it comes to things to do, I think we've all been there before. Maybe it's your first time in Berlin, maybe it's your fifth time, maybe you actually live here. But you probably have done the search of like a thing to do in a specific city. When it comes to myself, I am looking to go to San Diego, California this spring. And obviously, my favorite things to do is actually Google what I'm supposed to be doing. And my favorite source of content, where I'd like to find content of what I can find as inspiration, is YouTube videos. So in this instance, of course, there's an abundant ways of finding content. You may prefer TikTok, you may prefer travel blogs, it's up to you, and everybody is different. But the idea is here, in my specific case, as you can see, the Maritime Museum. It gives me a good overview, a good video overview of what there is to do, and also a list of options for me to choose from multiple partners. Now, I'll hand it off to Steve to tell us a little bit about the industry trends we are seeing.
Thanks, Olga. We realize that people want to understand what new trends are driving the industry forward, but I think it's good to reflect on what hasn't changed, what's not new. First is, on Google, we see search is still the primary tool that people use to discover activities and destinations, and that mobile continues to be the primary source of the primary device that people use to find their destinations, tours, and activities. Well more than half of our users are on mobile devices when they're running these types of things to do searches. Second, experience, trust, variety of options matters to users. We heard that over 42% of our users have never booked online without an in-person agent. What that means for the industry is that there's a big opportunity for brands to earn users' trust with a great user experience by differentiating their options and providing a trustworthy experience and booking flow. Third is that travel spend as a whole continues to grow. From a focus rate research study we saw, in 2024, travel spend exceeded pre-COVID levels, and the expectation is that in 2025, they'll continue to grow and exceed it by over 10%. We also know that travelers have a hard time researching, not just on Google, but across the board. They invest more, even though there's more options available online, they spend more time and effort today than ever trying to research their travel options. And it's not a linear journey. It's not, I want to go to Hawaii, so therefore I'm going to book a flight, book a hotel, and when I get there, I'm going to find some activities to do. It's a non-linear journey where people are searching for things like cheapest flights from SFO to Sydney, great tours in the Maldives, what bike tours are available in the Caribbean. They go back and forth between, do I get a vacation rental or do I get a hotel? So users we've seen spend over 3 hours over the course of months planning a single leisure trip. And typically when they're done, it's a sense of relief that they can finally close their 27 tabs that they've had opened and all of the stress of comparing different options and finally just make that booking. So I'll ask Olga, what are the specific user trends that we are seeing that are new?
Thank you. So I think AI, you probably heard this a million times at this point. What I want to say is that something that's new is that 15% of searches happening on Google are actually completely new searches we have never seen before. However, why this is important is because those queries are now becoming more complex than ever before. And this is where AI comes in, especially in the travel planning process, to kind of help with the complexity of these queries. What we are seeing is that despite the rise of AI, it's not always the go-to travel planning tool. For example, when you're looking to book a flight, we've seen that users actually prefer to go directly to the partner's website and be able to book through their website because the origin, the destination, the flight options are a little bit more comprehensive there for them. However, when it comes to a thing to do, it's a little bit more complex. Users often are looking to the different options. They don't know what to pick. They don't know what's right for them. And often they don't even know what they like and what their preferences are. So what we see often in the way that they manage this is that they open those 27 tabs and look at them and they don't know what to pick. So AI comes in to help this and resonate this in a better way. And this is where it's important. We've seen the rise of AI, especially in industries like the things to do industry. And we see that this is a major focus for us as Google as well. Now, when it comes to comparing options, again, a user trend we're seeing, it's actually difficult. As I said, things to do, there's a lot of options. You can see it on the screenshot here for Alcatraz tours. We see there's a comprehensive list, but I'm not entirely sure of certain things that I may be interested in. I may be interested in a night tour. I don't know if these are the official tours. I don't know if these provide me access to the prison and so on. Like, what are my options here, and how can I find this information? So when it comes to a thing to do, there's always often the question of like, which is the right option for me? Which one should I pick? And that's what we're trying to resolve here as well. Now, I'll hand it off to Steve to talk a little bit more about the inspiration phase.
Thanks, yeah. The Alcatraz example is interesting. It's the only time people try to find a way to get it into prison, and it's difficult sometimes. But what we're noticing is that users looking for destinations are they look at things to do through more of an inspirational lens than before. Historically, we've seen things to do more in what we consider the making a plan phase. I've already booked my destination. Now I want to find what are the fun things I can do while on the ground. Users now it's earlier in the funnel. They look at things like, what are the best family-friendly resorts in the Caribbean? Or for folks in different phases of lives, what are the best singles boat cruises that I can take through maybe the Maldives? Me personally, believe it or not, I went to the Taylor Swift Eras Tour last year with my son. And events are becoming a big cornerstone for people booking travel. We started with We Want to Go. We looked at the tour dates. We looked at the ticket prices in shock. And we ended up booking tickets for Miami. Then we booked a hotel. We booked flights. And the whole trip was planned around that destination. That's what we're seeing more and more today in things to do. Is it's not just the thing that you do after you book your trip. It's really becoming the focal point for deciding where to go. It's really driving people to choose new places based on the activities that they care about, not just find activities that they might want to do based on the places they already want to go. And on the inspiration front, we see that video and images are becoming more and more important. People are spending more time on Meta, TikTok, YouTube to understand more about the destination. I personally like YouTube Shorts to understand about, get a quick snapshot of what will it be like to be on that boat tour? What is that destination actually like? We've seen that when users that we've spoken to, the primary uses of videos at the inspiration phase in travel is to understand what are the top attractions and what is the user experience really like. That doesn't come across in a description of, hey, it's a museum and it offers tours. They want to see it. They want to understand what it's like to actually experience those things to do. And often, what are the kind of tips and tricks I can use while I'm there? Like, what should I pack if I'm going on my bus tour through the national parks of the United States? Olga, what are the ways that the industry can address these user needs?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things that you can do as partners. One of which is to optimize your site or service based on user intent. There's the journey is long, varies across the user. So there are ways for you to stay relevant, whatever they are at this stage. So one thing we advise is optimize your website experience to be for browsing and one-to-one evaluation, as well like offering a seamless checkout process. The reason why we're saying this is because Stephen mentioned earlier that mobile is where we get the most queries. And why this is important is that we also are seeing that users are 5 times more likely to drop off if your website is not as seamless. So this is an important part, and this is an area you have to kind of focus on and think mobile first, but also visualize the experience for the user. Another important topic is desktop. We talked a lot about mobile, but we see that there is usage of desktop, especially when it comes to the complexity of a certain task. When we're looking at to book a multi-city tour or something similar, then ideally the user goes back to the desktop to kind of research and do more comprehensive research and so on. There is a lot of touch points, and we see that often the longer it takes to complete that transaction phase, journey, the more touch points there are. So you might see them on tablet, you might see them on desktop, but you might also see them on mobile. But until the transaction is completed, you have to be able to offer them that seamless experience across. Also, don't forget desktop is also better for visualization and also more complex queries. So this is an area we also advise you to focus on. Now, when it comes to, I know we talk a lot about travel. There's obviously non-touristic content as well. So you have to be able to offer options as well for people who may be living in Berlin, for example, and they want to looking something to do this weekend with their family. These options should be also layered on your site and provide information for them. Now, in terms of providing context, you're going to ask me how do I do that? Things to do options can be confusing. We said this. We don't know often what is the right choice for me, especially when it comes to unfamiliar locations that I have never been before, and I don't know what to do there. So providing the accurate context is actually very crucial in the travel customer journey. Now, how to do this often is like we describe our tour and we say, this is a walking tour that goes around the Barcelona points of interest, right? But we advise you to go a little bit more extensive here. Like, say, what are the hidden gems that you're going to see? What are the landmarks that you're passing through? What are the points of interest that the user is going through in order to be able to give them this information? We also advise you to kind of talk about, is it a skip the line tour? Is it a cruise? What does the ticket actually include? Is it a guided tour and so on? It's something that's very important to, obviously, for the user to select and find the best options for them. Now, when it comes to the booking action, which is one that is very important, of course, is minimize those steps for them to take that action. We often see, I know we keep repeating this, but you'd be surprised at how often the websites make it complicated for a user to complete the transaction. Make it as seamless and frictionless as possible in order for the user to be able to complete the booking with you. And now on to Steve to see a bit more insights.
Yeah, so this is really exciting. I think that what we're seeing is these more complex user queries. People are trusting AI a little bit more to answer their questions. And you think historically how travel sites generally worked. There's a box with a destination, a set of dates. Users enter that. They run a search. They get a set of results. There's a set of filters. based on structured data, and then there's some text, some images, and a description, and then the users finally make a choice. But what we're seeing is with AI, it gives partners the ability to communicate in real language, human terms, what service or their brand offers. We've seen a trope we've seen is if you want to understand whether a hotel has breakfast, you run a search for a hotel name breakfast and see the result. If you want to know if you add hotel breakfast Reddit, you'll understand if the breakfast is any good because humans will have told you, and our AI machines can read that, understand it, and infer it. So what does this mean for you? It means that if you have a service or a brand or a website, communicate what makes that unique. What do you offer the greatest? Is it the best pool experience, the best check-in experience? So give content put the content on your site that allows these LLMs and AI to read it and communicate it to the user. If you're a service provider, imagine you're a scuba tour provider. That's really great for beginner scuba divers. Maybe you have a training pool that people can work on how to be underwater. Maybe you have small groups so people feel more comfortable, or money back guarantee if people start freaking out. But put that on your site so that if someone's searching for best scuba diving for my husband who's a little afraid of being underwater, that might be the perfect result for that person, even if it's not the most popular tour on your specific site. And lastly, make sure you can try handling unstructured queries on your site. See what happens if a user asks for something like best tour in Boston for someone who doesn't want to walk and bring a cat along. What results pop up? Try to understand those nuanced queries. And if you can, then your users are going to find those hidden gems and trust your brand more. And on the video front, we talked about the importance of video. What does that mean to you? Make sure that you have videos that explain the value of your brand, your services, your tours, the destinations. Keep them short-form videos. Make sure they're available on all platforms. We advise making sure that they're tagged with geolocation data. The titles and descriptions clearly identify the location that the people are searching for. You'd be surprised at how often there's videos and people have a hard time understanding what is this for? Is this for a tour, an activity? What is the main POI? And then finally is have a clear call to action to link to your service or your website. So what is Google doing in this?
Yeah, so we talked about AI. AI is actually something that we have been using for our travel products for many, many years. Please note that some of these mocks may not be available in all countries. Just want to set the expectations. But what AI is doing is simplifying the complexity of queries that we said. There's more and more queries happening, and we want to simplify this. And AI is actually helping in summarizing some of the existing content that there is out there and bringing this, making this simpler for you guys to read. It also allows you to kind of extract information from reviews. So if you think about a review, you may think, I'm interested in kid-friendly amenities, which is fair, but how do I find this? I have to go through every single review alone. Whereas if you put it on AI, now it kind of is able to produce that information much simpler for you to see which places are actually have those kid-friendly amenities. And it can also show you the best results when it comes to a flight search and so on, or for a thing to do. So this is an area we're concentrating and investing on our travel products. Now, when it comes to things to do specifically, I'm going to speak about the organic side, so that means it's non-paid formats. What we're seeing is that our mission is basically to inspire users to take action and have the best experiences out there, and the best experiences with you as our partners. Why this is important is because this is an area we're heavily investing in, and we have different options of how users can actually find the options that exist out there. We have the admission booking module, which is actually the list of the entry tickets and points of interest. We have also the tours and activities carousel, which shows mainly experiences. And we also have our tour operator booking module, which actually appears on the Google Business Profile page of the tour operator. Now, all of this lists the different options that there are for a user to kind of select from. the idea is that we are looking to expand more and more, especially when it comes to categorical search. As we said, kid-friendly activities I can do, or scuba diving in a specific area and so on. Historical tours in Rome. This is an area we're heavily investing in, making sure that our tours and activities carousel appears in more places and provides the best experiences to our users. And yeah, I'll leave it to Steve to also talk about a little bit about the ads product.
Yeah, we're investing heavily in our ads product on things to do to help both users see results, the best results for them, but also partners and advertisers fill inventory, drive more volume-specific inventory. A format that you can see on the left here is our carousel format that shows at the top of the search result page. These are specific entities, like these are activities or tours that are bookable and provided by partners through rich structured feed data. They have images, descriptions, prices, etc. We choose the best result based on the user query and what we can infer about the user given their travel journey. On the right-hand side, you can see this is on our place sheet. This is on Google Maps for a given point of interest. Advertisers can post experiences. These are maybe walking tours or bus tours that happen to go by that, maybe by this museum, or maybe just nearby activities or alternatives that might also be interesting. And then finally, on the right-hand side, we're also powering our standard search ads, our text ads. So instead of just having a blue link with a few, with a description, is we can pull that same rich feed content that's provided to us that we power the organic experience and these other ad units with to enhance your text ads to have an image and a description. So when people search for something like sugar loaf in Rio de Janeiro, you may have several tours and activities that you can show in a carousel. It makes your text ads more visually engaging and also gives users a better understanding of what you might offer. So just to summarize what we talked about today. Number one is the things to do, it's still a complex user journey. We see that more and more users are using things to do higher in the funnel for inspirational, deciding where to go. They rely heavily on video to get a sense of what it's like. And the queries that we're seeing are becoming more and more complex. How do we address these needs? Well, we need to engage the users in the way that they're searching. So be able to understand and react to those complex queries. Give them nuanced results that don't just always surface the most popular tour or activity on your site. Try to understand those user queries. Provide really rich video content in different formats across different platforms. And then finally, what is Google doing? We're obviously investing heavily in AI. I think this is not new. I think this has been spoken about a lot. But in travel specifically, we have a lot of projects in flight to make that user experience better. And we have these ad formats and organic formats to help our partners in the industry and the whole ecosystem drive more conversions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give Olga and Stephen a warm hand, please, everybody. And that concludes the morning's track here on the tours, on the e-travel stage for the tours and activities. We hope you enjoy the rest of ITB and see you here again, hopefully next year. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us. Thank you.